Guillermo Gomez, absent. Joe Trueheart. Lucy Vandenberg.
Present.
Jason Redd. Anaya Guzman, absent. We do not have a quorum.
So good evening. Tonight, Principal Dr. Laura Martin is proud to present the P.J. Hill Music and Art Departments. Under the direction of the art teacher, Ms. Georgia Shear, P.J. Hill youngsters have created artworks and represent social issues affecting their community. Also, the class is performing second grade teacher Jocelyn Steele and third grade teacher Holly Molnar. The students have used different materials and techniques to explore problems and solutions. The P.J. Hill Elementary School, conducted by music teacher Mr. Chris Tatro, is comprised of 50 students from grades 2 to 5. The choir students will perform a medley of songs of the late great Michael Jackson. Congratulations.
me.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Straddle. Oh.
Yeah.
fair. Not hot enough in this room. They raised the temperature about 20 degrees. Get this thing working. I'll kind of try to work both sides of the room. First, I want to thank everybody. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been back to the board. I think we have a lot to talk about. We've made a lot of progress. Still a long way to go, but we're going to talk about where we are today, where how we've gotten where we are. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. And while I know the schools start to wind down in the summertime, we at SBA really start to ramp up in the summertime. It's a great time to do construction work, and we're going to be doing a lot of it this summer. This high school project is a project that over the years has had a lot of fits and starts, and frankly more fits than starts. But within the last 2 years, I think everybody has come together. Everybody started to trust one another again. Everybody started to make compromises, and I think we're really in a position now where this project is becoming a reality. And we have met at SBA each of the interim milestones that we said we were going to meet, and we'll talk about one of them tonight. And we intend to continue to do that until we have a ribbon cutting ceremony, which will be at the appropriate time. So actually, let me come back. This is Trenton Central High School in its various iterations over the years. So from 1874, the new school was built in 1900. In 1932, Trenton Central High School, as most of us know it, was there. And in 2019, we will have the newer version that will be sort of technologically and state-of-the-art, ready for the educational process that our students need to undertake. What we've done so far. This is sort of a history as to where we've come from. February of 2014 is when we first initiated the design of the school. In March of 2014, we started looking for temporary facilities. We knew we had to move 1,200 students out of Trenton Central High School and into various schools. It's not something we've ever done at SBA to move that many children. So we ultimately found 4 separate facilities, and ultimately in the fall of 2014, the students and educators occupied those temporary facilities. We could not have done this without the incredible assistance from the staff at Trenton Central High School. In one summer, they moved out of a building that they had lived in for nearly 90 years. And they seamlessly, because I went to the school on the first day, along with Principal Grant, seamlessly moved in without a hitch that first day. That was monumental. So it was an incredible sacrifice on the part of the teachers, but we at SBA understand also that it was and continues to be an incredible undertaking and sacrifice by the students at Trenton Central High School, many of whom will never have a normal high school experience because they are switching grade. They're always with one grade. Now, the principal can tell you there are probably some benefits to that, but there are some detriments to that. And so, since the day we moved out, it has been on our minds at the SBA that nothing exists at Trenton Central High School anymore but an address. It's nothing but 400 Central Avenue. And until we put it back, that's all it's going to be. And we are working to put it back as quickly as we can. So in December of 2014, we advertised for a demolition and remediation contract. What that meant was the old school had a lot of asbestos and all other type of hazardous material in it that had to be remediated. So the remediation company came in and took all of that hazardous material out. And once they did that and it was approved by the DCA for permitting, they were able then to take down that section of the building. And so we awarded that demolition contract in April of 2015. In the fall of 2015, the students began their second year in the temporary facilities. And as the building was being taken down, in September of 2015, we advertised for design build services. That is, we hired one general contractor who was going to work on both the design and the building of the structure. And what that means is, later on I'll talk about, we're able to do it a little faster. We also advertised for CM services. CM is contract management. So what we do is we hire a builder to come in and build it. But we also hire a contract manager who oversees that building to make sure the building gets built expeditiously, properly, and make sure that the contractual requirements are met by the builder. So we did that. April of 2016, the demolition and remediation has basically been complete, and we awarded the design-build contract to a company by the name of Terminal Construction. How did we get to where we are today? We have had over 60 plus planning, programming, and design meetings with the district between February 14th and September 15th. That is the individuals from my design studio, the people who really are the brains of my operation, who put these buildings together. They had over 60 meetings with various people from the district. Again, I can't say enough about the Trenton Central High School staff who took the time out of their day to meet with us and give us their input, and ultimately we came to a middle ground where we were able to come up with a concept for the building. 12 district steering committee meetings were held between February 2014 and February 2015. 16 Trenton Board of Education SDA meetings that we had so that we could inform the public of what was going on, and 8 Board of Education community presentations, again, to let the public know what has been going on during these months that the school's been taken down. Talk a little bit about the current project status. As I said, the remediation and demolition of the old Trenton Central High School was completed in April 2016. That work had been initiated pretty much the prior year. The whole remediation work was completed in November 2015. They began the demolition last August. It was phased in because we took one building down at a time. There were a number of separate buildings. And again, in April 16, it was complete. And what we did was, the old building had basements in it where the boilers were, but the new building will not have a basement. So we took the brick that was the old building and crushed it up and filled in the basement. So the new building literally is going to be built on top of the old building. I'm going to bring up Louis Mock from my office. He's going to talk about the design update of the school. He's the architect. He knows more about this than I do. You want me to be your button man? No, that's okay. You're welcome.
Good evening. I'm going to talk to you about the organization of the site and the building program, show you some views of the project in 3D, so in three-dimensional perspective views, and then talk to you a bit about the historic elements from the prior high school building that were salvaged and reused in the new building and how that works. So, first of all, the limits of construction of the scope for the design builder goes around the site like this, across here, around the tennis courts, down, across the street, and back up that way. The tennis courts, the athletic fields, and Building G parking lot are all going to be in place and functional during the construction process. So some of the features of the site design to note. The building enclosed has 2 outdoor courtyards that are enclosed with fence and the building. This one is outside of the cafeteria and is a relic garden, which I'll explain in a little bit. And this one is an amphitheater. It has parking for 10 cars here, including handicapped in the front. So parking for 9 cars in this location, mostly to support the auto shop. And 5 additional spaces back here, parking for mostly maintenance staff. This is a service and loading area, accessible by this road. There's a second loading area here which serves the auditorium and the DPA SLC, small learning community. There's a new soccer field planned here which replaces the one that was removed. Let's see.
Where are the student entrances? Where are the student entrances?
So I we'll cover that next. First of all, the building is organized around a central two-story atrium space, and at either end of that atrium space is an entrance. So the atrium space is essentially through here. Picture that as an access 2 stories tall that the building is organized around. So this is the main entrance for the public. There's a second entrance here in the back for the public. And when I explain where the basic components of the building are, you'll see why the entrances are where they are. There are separate student entrances, one for each of the 5 SLCs. So to explain where those are and where the SLCs are located, first, there's an entrance here. This is for STEM, which STEM is located on the first floor, follows essentially that outline. Above STEM is health sciences and medical arts, and they have an entrance over here. Over here, this SLC, VPA, Visual Performing Arts, occupies 2 floors, and essentially it is organized around the auditorium. Here's the auditorium, and the entrance to VPA, Visual Performing Arts, is there, and it's organized classrooms and support spaces around there. On the other side of the central axis here, on this side, there's an entrance here on the ground floor for HRTV, hotel, restaurant, tourism and business. That's here. And then there's another entrance here for what is above that floor, which is the communications school. And the outline of that is essentially like that. So then other components of the building, the media center is these are all off of this main atrium space. The media center is in that location. The cafeteria and kitchen is located in that location. The swimming pool is there. The auditorium, which I spoke about a minute ago, is there. This is the locker rooms for both the pool and the main gymnasium located over there, and the auxiliary gym located over there. So you can see the location of the public entrance in the back off of the parking and on this main central spine makes all these shared use spaces that are accessible to the public easy to get to. So next, a few views of the project. Aerial view from the southwest. So, aerial view from the southeast. It's the main entrance. It's the entrance to HRTV and communications there. Service yard, outdoor courtyards, that one and that one. Soccer field. Main student entrance to STEM on the opposite side of the building. Is, there. Main entrance to the building and the tornado entrance element. The name of the school. The HRTV student entrance. This is the main public entrance in the back that I was talking about off of the parking lot and the atrium that gives everybody access, public access, as well as the students, of course, to the shared facilities. Just a quick second. So this drawing shows the elements that were salvaged from the existing building. They're currently stored and packaged on the site and will be incorporated into the design builder's documents for the reconstruction of the project. And this drawing also shows where those elements are going to be relocated in the new, or relocated or constructed in the new building. So first of all, the main lobby, and see that location, there's a main lobby that we're sort of treating like is being treated as if it's a museum. The mosaics from the existing school will be located on the walls there. In addition, the chandeliers from the previous auditorium will be located in the lobby space also, and actually be illuminated in the ceiling, hung from the ceiling. This is a picture of, these are toilet partitions from the existing building that are either marble or granite, and they're going to be salvaged and used for counters in the main office. They'll, of course, be cleaned, sterilized, and refinished. This picture, the marble slabs that comprise the base of this part of the previous building will be used in the center aisle of the outdoor amphitheater as steps to circulate from the stage at the bottom of the amphitheater to the top. These three elements are a capital, or the top of one of the existing columns, the base, and this decorative device over that entrance will be reinstalled also in the main lobby at the entrance, public entrance of the building. Some on the floor and some attached to the walls. This picture, it's a little difficult to see, but it's a picture of the existing historic light poles. There's actually, this drawing's not quite correct because there's actually two that are salvaged. One is being placed here near the public entrance. The other is in this courtyard off of the cafeteria that we call the Relic Garden. I might say also that all of this is done with the concurrence of SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office. So to go on, the travertine that you see surrounding this opening has been salvaged, will be cleaned, and some of it might have to be cut, but it'll be reinstalled on the main central corridor atrium that I talked about on the outside of the auditorium. I believe there are some seats from the original auditorium that are also salvaged that will be located there outside. They're not shown on this. In addition, in the area that we call the Relic Garden, which is off of the cafeteria, this in its entirety is going to be reconstructed in the wall of this side of the building, pretty much the way you see it right there. It'll also be surrounded by brick and set into the wall, the way it looked on the existing building, the prior existing building. And this column from the main entrance in its entirety, but in pieces, will be put in this courtyard as well, laid on mostly on the surface of the green space. And that's all that I have to report on. So I'm going to turn this over to either Andrew or McKenna.
Andrew will help me if I need it. I would just like to mention also that I have a team of people who are behind this. And Dave Manuel is at the end of your right. And he is the second in command of our design studio. Richard Sherman could not be here tonight, so he's ably standing in for him. Manny DeSilva is the person who's going to oversee this project. Kristen McCall is the person who everybody complains to, so she deals with our 24-hour hotline, and she deals with our public relations. And Andrew Oakley is the person who pretty much has been on site every day for the demolition, and he will be on site every day for the construction to make sure that everything is going appropriately. Where do we go from here? So we hired a design builder. Terminal Construction is a company that's done business with us in the past. and they have done it very successfully. We're very pleased that they are the design builder here. How do we get there? We don't just take the lowest bid. We have two aspects to it. We call it price and other factors. So there's a technical aspect to it, and then there's a price aspect to it. So each one of the bidders for this job had to come in and present their vision of how they were going to do this. Not only what it was going to look like, but more importantly, how they were going to go about constructing this building. And that became very important to us. And that technical aspect is actually 60% of their score. And the price factor is 40% of the score. And we have a team of both in-house and somebody from the district who had a voice on voting and scoring every one of those contractors. And it was Terminal that had the best technical as well as the best price score, and the combined score was the lowest of all of the contractors. So I don't want people to think that we just take the low bid, because we don't. 60% of it is how good this company is, who their team is, and how they are going to go about doing this. And like I said, Terminal has worked for us in the past, and they have done great work for us. They're working for us on some other schools now, and I'm sure that they will do well as we move forward. They have a meeting with us in-house every 2 weeks, and actually district representatives are there as well. So the district is always aware of what is going on at the site, what the design builder is doing, and where we are in the project. And there's a voice always for the district. So September 2015, we advertised for those services. January, February 2016, we had got the proposals in, we did the interviews and went through the selection process. April 2016, we actually awarded the design build contract to Terminal Construction. On April 8th, we gave them a notice to proceed, and on April 19th, we have our initial project meeting. We're in the process now of engaging the construction manager, who is going to, like I said, oversee the actual management of Terminal Construction. We advertised for those services in March of 2016, and like the blended way that we picked the design builder, here we put 70% of the weight on their vision for how they were going to manage this project for us, and 30% on price. We had the proposals, the interviews, and the selection process took place in March, and we anticipate awarding this contract actually tomorrow at my board of directors meeting, which will take place at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Moving forward, Terminal Construction is going to deliver this project through what they call a fast-track design construction approach. You can only do this if you're doing a design-build project like they're doing. And what the fast-track permits them to do is to build the building in stages and to get approvals from the Department of Community Affairs, DCA, who is the entity that gives us the permits to move forward. So the first thing they're going to start doing, and they'll start doing this summer, is work on the footings and the foundations. That is the very base of the school. And once they finish that, they will then erect the structural steel, which are really the bones, the skeleton of this project. And I've always found that when the steel goes up, that's when people begin to say, there's really a structure here. That's when people are going to see that a school is actually being built. And then once they get the structural steel on, the bones as it were, then they will flesh it out with all of the brickwork and the masonry and everything else. Once they finish the outside, they'll go to work on the inside. Design submissions and approvals, how does it work? So the design builder has to submit to the SDA team to make sure that what they're building is what we want and what the district wants and what everybody has approved. So they basically submit to us the schematic designs and the project performance requirements, and we review those. We review the preliminary design and we review the final design. While we do that, we hand it over to the Department of Education, and they do a final educational adequacy submission. They want to make sure that what we're building is going to meet the educational needs of the children. They've approved it already in theory, but when the actual plans come in, they want to see it, they want to make sure the square footage is right, there's enough classrooms for people, the technology that they need is there. So they do it for the educational adequacy. Once we review and we accept the final designs, final design submissions, and we get the final educational adequacy submission, we then submit it to the Department of Community Affairs and the Department of Education for review and approval. DCA, Department of Community Affairs, is the one that permits it and says, all right, this is ready to go, you can start building. The proposed activities, Terminal is right now doing site investigations to make sure that everything on the site is ready when it mobilizes. It will mobilize in August. In October, it will start the footings and foundations construction. It will start the steel March of 17, so we're into next year. October 17th, we're going to get full building construction, and by June of 19, we expect to have substantial completion, and we hope to have full 2019 occupancy. These are dates that we are going to try to improve upon, but they are dates that we will meet at the worst case scenario. But we like to think that we can build this school a little faster. Andrew gets agito, and every day he walks past my office and I say, is it done yet? I'm like a 4-year-old who's riding in the car going somewhere. I want to know if we're done yet. That's my job. I don't know how to do what they do, but I do know how to be a nudge and push them into getting this job done. So that really is the update on where we are, how we've gotten to where we are. We're real excited that we're starting to move into the phase where a new building is actually going to take shape for the community. And I'll take any questions the board has at this time.
So my first question is, I think this is probably the largest, if not one of like the top 3 projects currently being developed in the city of Trenton. And I want to know what you guys are doing to engage kind of the local workforce to bring them on site.
There's no requirement, there's no statutory mandate that we hire young people or we hire people to do it. We have tried to impress upon the design builder to hire people from the community, and we hope that they will do that. One of the things that we at SBA have done in the past 2 years is we have hired summer interns from Trenton Central High School. Kids that come in, we've got an hour to pay them $12 an hour, I think, and we do that. And we've talked to the people at City Hall and local builders to try to get them to go down and get work, but we don't really control that. So we've asked the contractor to do the best that they can, and that's about as good as we can do.
How do they report that? So how do we know what they're doing? Is there, through you can report to the board, so you can let us know kind of what's going on? How do
They have to report who's on the job at all times and where they're from, so we can look into that and report back.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great. Oh, there we go. Thank you for the presentation. That was really informative and helpful. I have a few questions and then just a couple of comments. There was one piece of it that I'm really interested in is understanding how the community will have access to the building, and there was a comment made earlier about that there's going to be...
Basically, what we have is that back entrance, or this is where the entrance. This is towards the back of the school, and this is going to be the community entrance because if you go into that entrance, you have direct access to the gymnasium and the auditorium. So for uses beyond educational uses, or for educational uses that we want the community to come in, the community can enter there, will get access to those public areas, and we can close off the rest of the school. So you don't have a situation where people are wandering aimlessly throughout the school. That permits the ability for like dual use of the school. We want the school to be a community resource as well as just a resource for the children. So that's how we design it.
That's great. Thank you. Also, you mentioned that the architecture is being done together with it's like design build.
Design build.
So does that mean that the architect has already been selected, or that the architect is on staff through Terminal?
The architect, well, what Terminal does is Terminal has a joint venture with an architectural firm, and they work together. What we found in the past was there's something called design bid build, and the way that would work is we would engage an architect to design the building, and then once the architect designed the building, then we would go out and get a contractor to build according to those plans. One thing that does is that doubles the time to do the procurement, because you have to do 2 procurements rather than 1. Secondly, what would happen is that the builder would invariably look at the plans and say, we need change orders. And we found that when we do design bid build, the change orders can be as high as 10% to 12% of the cost of the overall building. When it's design build, because it's their design, they can't come back to us later and say, whoa, these plans are not right. We go to look at your plans. So we find that we save time, and because we don't have to do 2 procurements. And we found that the cost of change orders, which are invariably going to happen regardless of, have only been about 1 to 2% when we do design build. And design build permits us to do the fast track, so we can build the building in stages. And so we think that it makes the costs much more predictable, and it makes the time much shorter, probably by a year over a design bid build.
Okay, and so to follow up on that, there's probably not going to be a lot of design changes between now and 2019 because of that? Is that
That's correct.
accurate? Okay. Great. And then I had a question about funding. So is the funding already in place through the SBA to do this project through 2019, or is there going to be a necessity for additional bonding that's going to have to be approved by some other entity?
No entity has to approve it. The money is already there. Believe me, I cannot come to you with nothing but a flat structure and 400 Central Avenue to tell you I'm out of money. That's not going to happen.
Okay, great. That's also good to hear. And then the last piece was just, I wanted to ask you about sustainability. And I know a lot of the board members are very interested, myself included, in making sure that the building is as sustainable as possible, both from a LEED point of view, but also incorporating opportunities through curriculum and maybe through design to incorporate basically environmental and sustainability features. And some examples of that would be like on-site stormwater, looking at waste and some other issues like that. And I wondered if there's, what thought you had given to that.
I know that it's going to be LEED certified. That's a requirement that all of our schools will be certified. With respect to stormwater and the like, I really don't know at this particular point, but it's not beyond the point where we can add something like that, so I will look into it.
That would be great. I know DEP is doing a lot of Trenton in terms of combined sewer outflows, because Trenton is one of those communities that has that issue, and so this might be a great educational and kind of test opportunity to do something innovative. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is that I just think it would be great to put this presentation on the website and to have as much communication as possible with the community as we're going forward. I know different folks have come to the meetings asking for updates, so it's really wonderful to have you here. And as we move forward over the coming months, I think it would be really nice both to have this presentation and to have periodic updates that are available on the website for people who aren't able to come to the meetings so that we can really communicate. And I'm also
We'll make this available to you so you can put on the website.
okay, that would be great. And then are there more SBA committees that are open to the public that are going to be scheduled over the next few weeks?
We did, while we were doing the demolition, we had a monthly meeting that we would do, but since nothing's happening, there was really no sense to bring everybody together to say we're doing nothing. So I suspect that when the building starts up again, your subcommittee will want to meet again.
And that would be great. I think it's just another way to communicate. We can post that information on the website as well. Thank you.
Just so everybody knows, we apologize for the ER conditioning not working, and they're currently in the process of bringing fans over.
The air conditioning in that school will work better than what the other That's one thing. And if not, there's a pool.
I have a question about the integration with existing kind of products that the district currently uses. So there's certain things like phone, other systems that we have in our other buildings that we pay for already. Will the design build folks work with having the staff here to make sure that the seamless transition, we don't have 2 different systems that don't communicate with each other?
We do, and also with computer systems as well. We make sure that the computer system is compatible with the district's computer system so that it works seamlessly.
You were saying that you get comments from the community and things like that through the public relations side of the house.
Well, comments from the plans. They like we met with the district and to figure out the design, and I think the board voted on the design of this. So it's not like people can pull up and say, I think it should be painted blue. But if there's something going on, or they have questions, or there's problems with the community, there's a hotline number that they can call and alert us to the situation, and then we can check it out. That hotline number, Kristen, is 609-341-5940.
What's the turnaround time for responding to those complaints?
We will turn around and get in touch with you within 24 hours. I may not give you the answer you want. You may say, I want the building built, and I'm going to go, well, we get built. But you will get a response within 24 hours. It may not be the one you want.
Yeah, we're also changing the website
be good. Thank you.
Sorry, I thought I had one more question. Sure. I don't know if this is a question for you or someone else, but one of the things I was noticing in the design, right, is that there's going to be, hotel and STEM and theater and performing arts, and I'm just wondering if our current curriculum is in any way going to need to be adjusted to reflect the change in the design or vice versa, or how that's going to
It's over my pay grade, but my understanding is that it was designed with the education folks in mind.
Yes.
And that's how it was.
At the table.
The principal is, I can't say enough about her as a driving force, both in getting this project done, but in making sure that the needs of the students are being met. She is at every meeting. She comes to construction meetings. I know that when they're talking about the sophisticated construction stuff, neither she or I knows what they're talking about, but she is there. And probably knows more than I know, and she makes sure that it gets done, as well as like people from her staff are there. So they are well, they make every meeting. I don't know how they do it. I think she may split herself into part. Maybe one is a hologram. I'm not sure, but she always does.
Thank you very much.
And if you have any questions in the future, you don't have to wait for a meeting. Just call my office. We'll make sure I go through Ms. Howard. She certainly, I think her and Andrew speak, Andrew Yoshua. Andrew here? Oh, okay, I missed you. And Andrew certainly brains my operation, and she knows that she calls him and gets him on the phone. So this is not something that has to wait for a monthly meeting or something like that. If there's a problem or a question or a concern, air it, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How are we doing? Roll call, please.
Present.
Fia Gusson. Present. Denise Millington absent. Jason Redd. Jane Rosenbaum absent. Guillermo Gomez absent. Joe Trueheart.
Present.
Lucy Vandenberg.
Present.
We have a quorum.
The New Jersey Public Meeting Law is enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted on. On the rules of this act, the Board of Education has caused notice of the meeting by publicizing the date and time and place, therefore, posted in the Central Services Building, 108 Brooklyn Avenue, City Clerk's Office, City Hall, and Times. Anyone whose name is on the mailing list should receive notice. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the 5 minutes addendum, the personnel recommendation for reappointments, and we're going to pull the personnel recommendation item U, the Assistant Superintendent of Schools and Board.
So moved.
And the resolution for Adams Materials Liability. Okay.
So moved.
Roll call.
D.A. Graham.
Yes.
Fia Gusson.
Yes.
Denise Millington absent. Jane Rosenbaum absent. Guillermo Gomez absent. Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Lucy Vandenberg.
Yes.
Jason Redd.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item, if you notice, we deviated from the normal schedule. It's because of everything that's kind of come onto the agenda at the end of the year with the presentation on the new high school, as well as the normal kind of meetings that take place regarding employees that either for different employment matters, which usually take place in closed session, but an employee can opt to have it in public session. So when some employees ask to have it in public, we move that ahead of the, all those ahead of the public comment, because sometimes people come with their union representation, with their attorneys. So that's why this part is before. Nobody, the people who had previously said that they would like to have it in public, no longer would like that in public. So we're going to adjourn into exec session for the express purpose of dealing with, or for the express purpose of dealing with these specific employment matters. And then we will adjourn we'll recess exec session, come back out here and finish the bulk of the remainder of the agenda, and then go back and finish the other items that are in exec session. So, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, codified NJSA 10:4-6, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting under certain circumstances, and whereas the Trenton Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances exist, as follows: personnel matters related to employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion, or disciplining of any specific prospective public officer or employee or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by the public body unless all individuals who could be adversely affected request in writing that the matter be discussed at a public meeting. Balance of hearings on non-reappointments. Now therefore be it resolved that the Trent Board of Education, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, that an executive session will be held on May 31st for the statutorily permissible purposes indicated in this resolution, and be it resolved that actions taken by the board may be taken once it reconvenes in open session, and be it finally resolved that the minutes of the executive session with regard to the above subject matter shall be disclosed to the public at a later date to the extent that the same is not prejudicial to the interests of the parties involved, no longer adverse to public interest, or does not endanger any individual's rights to privacy. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Roll call.
D.A. Graham.
Yes.
Sophia Guston. Denise Millington absent, Jane Rosenbaum absent, Guillermo Gomez absent, Joe Trueheart. Lucy Vandenberg.
Yes.
Jason Redd. Motion passed.
We will adjourn to take these personnel matters, and hopefully in the meantime we'll get some fans in here to cool down the room. And then as soon as we're done with those two meetings, we will reconvene.
Good evening, my name is Pat Vogt and I'm president of the Trenton Educational Secretaries Association. I've been president since 1976. I am a product of the Trenton Public Schools, graduate of Trenton Central High School. I started as a co-op student at the Trenton Board of Education in 1957, so I've been around for a while. I would like to address why we need to seriously look at the way we do some things in this district. If we are to give the children of Trenton the same educational opportunities that I received when I grew up around the corner from here. First, we need the board to be accountable to tax-paying citizens and parents of the children who have forgotten. A board who can actually follow the conversations and understand the concerns voiced before them. It does not seem to be working here. You as a board need to see that our children succeed and give every possible opportunity to do so. As a board, you need to fight whoever it takes, the mayor, the state, the legislators, to get the funding to build futures, not steal them. I think you should start by sending the carpetbaggers packing back to Philadelphia. Since the first superintendent of schools came from Philadelphia with his quote people, our serious troubles began. Then the state came in with monitors, etc., and here we are. Seriously, you could not find anyone qualified from here to run personnel, human resources, talent acquisition and development. Really, all those names? Which, by the way, talent acquisition and development is a term used in charter schools, and I believe Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, Tessa had a meeting in the Talent Acquisition and Development Office with the person in charge, and we were discussing the fact that our titles in our contract. Yes, we still have a contract in effect, which I'm not sure the board is aware of. And she said she never heard titles like we had in our contract. Not where she came from, Philadelphia. We are not in Philadelphia, and this is our contract. How about hiring people who are not receiving an out-of-state pension or using Trenton as a stepping stone? Find people who care, especially for the position of superintendent. How about finding a person who's really interested in Trenton, who appreciates who we were and what we can be? Someone with a history here and with ties who would feel a loyalty and responsibility for our children. A person who would care for our community and their needs. Speaking of caring, I want you to know that you have stripped our secretaries of their professional respect, stolen some of their goals by removing any possibility of promotion when you decided not to care and called them secretary. You took away their dignity, and oh yes, you offered them counseling services. Aren't you proud that you did that? It is obvious you are trying to do away with NJEA unions. TEA cuts, Paras cuts, TESA cuts. Amazing how the top of the ladder continues to add personnel and salaries go up for them. Why do we need more administrators with less personnel and students? More money saved would be to remove your current law firm. The current person here, hearing grievances for the board is an employee of the law firm that represents you. That law firm is the law firm that you pay for arbitrations, etc. Could that be why we have to take almost every grievance to arbitration and told to do so much by the hearing officer who works for the firm? We fortunately have won almost all of our grievances. But think of the money you could have saved at a lower step of the grievance procedure. Remember, you too are a taxpayer and paying this out of your pocket. I might add here that more money will be paid for all the legal documents we will be filing regarding our contract and the rights of our members that you failed to adhere to when you violated our contract in the current RIF. Unfortunately, you did not learn anything from the last two RIFs of our unit. The Child Study Department is still not straightened out. Remember the registrations? Here we go again. If the board had only listened to the last two RIFs.
Ms. Moe, your time is expired. Somebody need your additional time?
Yes, we did.
Who?
I do.
What's your name?
Elizabeth Gill.
I only have 1 second to go. Okay.
Take your time, Kat.
Okay. Tessa cares about the students and their welfare. We care about all the personnel and that we are a chain and need each other for the schools to survive. I would be happy to answer any of your questions. No questions? Okay, thank you.
I've been given additional time by some individuals that are here in attendance.
Who are they?
That's Marisol Gerardo, Judy Martinez, Estella Harris, and Lorraine Ware.
Go ahead, Ann.
You have 15.
Thank you. I would like to thank the members of the board for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Trenton Educational Secretaries Association. Good evening to our interim superintendent. My name is Ann Scarata, and I would like to speak to perception versus reality.
All right.
Both use actual facts and circumstances to formulate a concept, a picture, the lay of the land, or whatever you choose to call it. As I reviewed the actions of this board over the past few months, pieces of a puzzle started dropping into place, creating a picture or my perception. The elimination of 90+ paraprofessionals posed no problem for you because they do not have tenure status. They are at-will employees, and every June their contract expires and they are dependent upon this board to renew their contract or be unemployed. For the last several years, you have played with their lives, their emotions, their financial security, and the impact your decisions had upon their families. Worse, you have cheated the children of Trenton from having people with them who actually care about them in school and at home. People who care if they had anything to eat since the last time they were in school. People who let each child know that someone cares about them. People who encourage them and celebrate their successes. People who let them know that their life matters they matter. This year, you threw away over 90 of our paraprofessionals, most of them Trenton residents, and with them the only security many of these children have. And you successfully managed to cut their union in half. The secretaries created a bigger problem for you. In recent history, you have riffed our secretaries on multiple occasions due to budget concerns. And after a period of time, you have always brought them back because you discovered without them, this district does not function. The TESA leadership, Pat and myself, are proud to be extremely strong advocates for our members. Over the years, we have won too many grievances to count. We have prevented work site abuse by negotiating and enforcing certain provisions. While certain administrators have attempted to use our members as if they were in a secretarial pool, we reminded them of our contractual rights. Some needed to be reminded several times. Secretaries are tenured employees in New Jersey. You can't just throw them out like you did with paraprofessionals. First, you riffed 22 of them due to the budget. But with the remaining 48, you got creative. You abolished the 3 professional categories we negotiated with the board and created a new position called secretary. Then you terminated all 46 of them, sending them termination letters to hand in their keys, district identification, etc., June 30th. This board has no empathy or compassion for their employees. And do not bother to try to dispute this with words, because it is your actions that show what you really are. You just play with your educational support employees. It is as if they are not professionals deserving of your respect. Suddenly, 46 people were faced with no income, no health benefits, no employment, no means to survive. You can claim it was always your intent to bring them back, but you did not care about the emotional roller coaster you imposed upon them, pawns in your game. Did it create some internal friction within our association? Was that your intent? Sure, but no more than we expected. Every organization has their members who are moles. We trust that they will run to management and tell all. Then we have the ones that attempt to create chaos by spreading lies to panic their colleagues. You use the weak and insecure in an attempt to divide and conquer.
Yes, you did.
But we know our members, and there were no surprises. Under your one-job title, secretary, our senior secretaries will be expected to effectively do job responsibilities that our Administrative 1 and Administrative 2 secretaries did in the past. Not every senior secretary wants a promotion. Some are happy to have the job as a senior secretary at less compensation. The same can be said for the Administrative 1 secretaries. History shows that many were happy to remain Administrative 1, some went for the promotion to Administrative 2, and some actually decided a senior secretary position was their comfort level. But like it or not, they will now all be expected to successfully perform the job responsibilities of an Administrative 2 secretary. One of our members asked the Assistant Superintendent for, as they call it now, Talent Acquisition and Development, what happens to the secretaries that they will not be successful? Our secretary stated that it takes time to achieve the skill sets for each level. The Assistant Superintendent replied, "That is why we have due process." Now we have been told that you are going to provide professional development for them. Pretty clever. strip these tenured employees of their job titles and specific responsibilities, provide some bogus professional development in the 4 weeks before they assume the job, and then file 10-year charges against them when they cannot effectively do the new job. You have set them up for failure, but then they are tenured. How else would you get rid of them? And that is how you resolve the problem of TESA members with tenure. Oh, and then there is two for one effect. Only leave the CST teams with 4 secretaries. A year from now, you can claim how ineffective the remaining CST secretaries are and how the CST teams fail to effectively do their job. You have been after the CSTs for a couple of years. Congratulations. This will help you achieve that goal. But then, it is only my perception. Let us move on to the game plan for the attendance officers. Members of the Trenton Business and Technical Association. Now their job is to see why children are not in the school and get them back into school to receive an education. Their job responsibility has to do with making sure these children receive an education. Their job is to protect the opportunities for our children so they can succeed in life, because these young lives matter. This year, you have 8 attendance officers. You cut them to 4. That's 50%. That leaves 4 attendance officers for the entire district of 13,000 plus students, including those in charter schools and those outplaced for other reasons. Do you think the remaining attendance officers have been given an impossible job? Do you think they will be successful? Did I mention the attendance officers are also tenured? Again, only my perception. Someone in this administration has decided to go after the unions. The paraprofessionals were an easy target. TESA, Business and Technical, and TEA, harder, because our members are tenured. If you can successfully remove tenured employees, then their unions must not be able to protect them. The strategy is one of the oldest in history. Divide and conquer and cause internal dissension. But then this is my perception. The reality is that you will harm the students and their families to get to us. They are not your priority. Breaking us is your priority. What are they, collateral damage? The reality is that the Trenton School District educational support employees used to be proud to work here and be part of this school district. Today, we are here and we will fight to stay here.
That's
to
right.
protect the children's future.
Rose Dawkins. Good evening, Ms. Dawkins.
Good evening to everyone. I'm not going to speak on what I initially signed up for via the website. I was going to speak on a certain subject. I'm choosing to try to resolve this situation in a civilized manner and a meeting with this individual. But I will speak openly about contractual jobs that you're handing out. You have people, you have so many contractual agencies now, you have people who get fired from one contractual job with the triple education and then go right across the street to the next contractual person and get rehired. I know for a fact that you had an individual who was working as a security guard, left for a post, went out in front of the school to fist fight a parent. She was fired. Guess what? She's now in the school district as a 101. With that same type of demeanor, working with a special needs student, I think this is totally inappropriate. So, but on a more positive note, I would like to thank the head security, Mr. Gary Moore, who chose to put children first. Regardless of my title, when I approached him, his concern was regarding our children. I'd like to thank him. I'd also like to thank Director Ortiz, whom has been very professional in his interactions with me and have worked on his 2 situations that I have addressed with him while other people make promises and just push me to the side. I'd like to thank him tonight for this. And as I stated to him, I'm a reasonable person. I will not come here today and throw this person's name out because I'm well enough to sit down and talk to this individual as he was not man enough to talk to me. So I will do this. Mrs. DeSouza, thank you for your support. The supervisor of Insight Workforce, her hands were tied. Even though she knew I was totally innocent, had done nothing, she tried to support me and keep me at the school that I was at. But she was overrode because a decision was made. I need to be moved because I'm a troublemaker. I thank her for her support regardless. Vice President Joe Trueheart, thank you for returning my call. I appreciate you took the time to even to call me back, and for that I do thank you. And last but not least, I'd like to thank Assemblyman Reed Gaciano, who is an attorney, who is our assembly person, who took an interest in the 2 issues that I brought to his attention. I thank him for signing me one of his assistants out of his office, who's going to work with me on this particular situation that I addressed with him and Mr. Ortiz. I stated today, and I seriously mean it, if I do not resolve this situation, I will be back here in September. I'm like an elephant, I never forget. I'm a very reasonable person, I'm a respectful person. I respect everyone in here, I demand respect. But regardless of my title in this school district, you have to understand I'm an advocate for my children. And if I see that something is not right, regardless of my title, I'm going to address it. And principals who work with me, or teachers who work with me, they need to understand that. So I hopefully submit that I do not have to be here come September, bringing the negativity that should have ended the school year. But I do promise that if I have to be here, I will be here, and I will be here with support, not only from the community, but from a legal institution. I do thank you.
Andre Rumi, LLMI. Ms. Nardi. You have 5 minutes, Ms. Nardi.
Thank you. Hope it'll be shorter, okay? Good evening to the members of the Board of Education.
I'd like to give her my
What's your name?
Patricia.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening to the members of the Board of Education, Ms. Ferrara, everyone in attendance who served our country, and to everyone in this room who is indeed a member of a union. I'm asking you to set us, I prepared the speech before I came this evening, and you have already set aside the personnel transition item U, okay? But I do want to address the reasons why I was going to ask you to set it aside. I am grateful that you did do that, okay? I believe as board members you need to become more involved in motions that are set before you. I do not believe that you are always provided with accurate information to support recommendations for promotional positions. I believe it is your responsibility to the children and the families in the school district to take the initiative and investigate before you simply approve a recommendation. I believe it is incumbent upon you to ask the hard questions and verify that you are given the correct information. In this particular case, I would ask, and now you definitely have the opportunity to ask, I would want to know why someone in the administrative working under the recommended individual changed the student information system so that middle school students only have to be present for 2 hours to be marked present, rather than what it was previously, which is 4 hours. It appears this administrator also changed the system so that high school students only had to be present for 2 hours and 40 minutes, rather than the previous standard of 4 hours. The New Jersey State Administrative Code says the school day must be not less than 4 hours, except for kindergarten. Okay? Such an adjustment in your information system can result in significantly changing data. For example, a school with 86.6% attendance would now be reported with an attendance record about 6% higher. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but if I were a board member, I would want to know if the attendance numbers accurately reflect what is happening in our schools. Another piece of information I would request if I was a board meeting is I would want to know what FACE programs were provided to this community that were generated from that department and not the TEA or TPA. I would want to see a list of all the activities provided to the students and parents in 2014-15 and one for 2015-16. Okay? And I would also ask for substantive proof to support the information presented to make sure that they actually did happen. Also, as a board member, I would want to compare the attendance report prepared by parents with the attendance report that was submitted under someone else's name, his supervisor, and see just how many similarities there may be. As an NJEA UniServe representative for TB&T, I submitted an OPRA request for information and data on the information gathered, by the attendance officers relative to ensuring Trenton children were in school receiving an education. I've been told this information is critical because if a children or the family needs help and assistance, the school can be there to intervene. I thought it was all about helping Trenton students. I expected my OPRA request to generate a significant amount of information. I received 4 sheets of paper. That was all the information the department, under this individual supervision, could provide. They did not have anything else. As a board member, you might want to ask why that is. I believe the Trenton taxpayers would be interested in knowing why an individual with no previous ties to Trenton can be hired in December of 2012 and have salary increases totaling almost $14,000 in that 3-year time period. Just to be clear on this point, in a 3-year time period, that average individual receives 2 salary increases. That would be $7,000 a year. And that doesn't include the additional increase should this position be awarded to the individual. That would be an additional $16,000. So that would total the increase for 3 years in a district to $30,000 increase in compensation. As a board member, you might want to ask yourself how you can sit there and take action to withhold numerous increments this evening and some non-renewals for employees based solely upon their attendance over the past 3 years. It appears the superintendent has decided that if you are a 10-month union member and have not met an attendance requirement of 92% over the 3-year period, you will automatically have your increment withheld. Okay? But if you are non-union and you're applying for this assistant superintendent position, and if in April of this year you needed to go on unpaid status because you had used all of your days, and if that equates to 90-some days of absence in a 3-year period of time, it obviously means that you are assistant superintendent material. So I think we would all like to hear that rationale.
Yeah, they got you on that one, Lucy.
So I'm going to ask that the Board of Education take a serious look at the information that has been forwarded to you regarding this individual. Think about what the $152,000 would buy in materials and supplies to students in the classroom. Children who are not using the system for their personal gain, but just trying to get an education and have opportunities in their future. You need to ask yourself why their young lives do not matter to you. Thank you.
How was it forwarded? You said that there was material that was forwarded to us. How was it forwarded?
Excuse me?
You said that there's material that we should have received. How was it forwarded to us?
Ms. Fred, I would assume that if there has been a recommendation made for a promotional, for a promotional position, that you would have received materials on the individual being recommended.
But there's nothing from you or from your members for us to look at.
No, but I may be more than happy to share the information I received from my Oprah request.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, definitely.
Carolyn Alvarado. Ms. Tatiana De Jesus. Good evening, Ms. De Jesus. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon, or rather good evening. My name is Tatiana De Jesus. I was born and raised in Trenton. Currently, I'm the president of the National Honor Society, the Benny Emeritus chapter at my school, as well as I'm also the TCHS West Campus's class of 2016 salutatorian. That is to say, that I have the second highest GPA within my school. I will also be attending Remco College, New Jersey, majoring in chemistry this fall semester. To start off, I'd like to speak about a very wise and brave man who once said, "Be the change you wish to see." Mahatma Gandhi was smart when he spoke these words, and I'd like to continue this way of thinking. Since, as a soon-to-be Trenton Central High School alum, I'd like to live in order to be the change that not only I wish to see, but what our district needs. No, I'm no professional by any means. I'm technically not even a true blue college student yet. However, I do know that I'm at least one thing, and that is a Trentonian. As a through and through Trentonian, I'm part of this family. And because of this family known as Trenton, I do have a general idea of what my community needs. This includes a quality education across the board. It is no secret that funding is usually an issue that arises every so often in our district. Of course, budget cuts are made. However, when these budget cuts infringe upon the basic right of a student to receive said quality education, then us as a community should change these volatile injustices. There have been many bilingual paraprofessionals who have been laid off and are facing this possibility. Some who reside here in my own hometown, many of our hometowns of Trenton. Now, this were happening in order to make for a better way for more bilingual adults, who I suppose would do the job better, then we would be here calling for such reforms. Instead, however, we are here because it has been brought to our attention that instead of trying to make way for these better adults, for these better professionals, they're being replaced with only English-speaking adults. Again, I'm no professional, but I'd like to think that you have some common sense. So I know when you take away a translator from someone who does not speak the native tongue of any land above which they reside, they will perish. How can you continue to learn the new concepts that you barely understand what your teacher is saying? And coming from someone whose school has recently become almost 0.5% ESL students, as well as someone who has family and friends who belong to this program, I say we should be taking an active role. We should not be taking an active role, but even more roadblocks within our students' way. It is my understanding that these bilingual paraprofessional positions are not being done away with altogether, but instead they're being replaced. This tells me that the solution is simple. Just don't do it. Whether we changes of any kind, we should all strive to be the change we want to see. And as many of us want to, or I'm sorry, and as of now, many of us want to see the reforms going on within the ESL programs to come to a halt. I wish the board would realize that what our students need is someone who will understand them. Someone who will not add difficulty to their everyday school life. But instead, those who not only understand the language, but can also understand the culture as well. We must continue to nurture our youth, not tear them down just so they begin to grow. I pray you take my pleas into consideration. Thank you, and have a pleasant rest of your evening.
Yesenia Bernides. Corey Delana DeLeon. Braulio Capas.
Hello everyone, good evening. So my name is Braulio Capas, and I am a current senior at the Trenton Central High School West Campus. And I'm proud to say that I would be graduating this month or tomorrow, in June. This month as the class of 2016's valedictorian. I'm also glad to say that for this fall I'll be going to Colgate University, and I will be majoring in biomedical engineering. And I will be going to college on virtually a full academic scholarship. I'm sorry. So I've heard to hear about many changes that is going on within the bilingual program in the Trenton School District. Some of these changes include the replacement of bilingual paraprofessionals with monolingual paraprofessionals. As a student raised in the school district, I can say that I have been a product of the bilingual program in the District of Trenton. I'm fully bilingual in both English and Spanish, so I mean, here I am speaking to you guys. It's a shame to know that many Spanish-speaking students will be denied the ability to learn in their native language. Just as I have been able to when I was growing up in Trenton. I was raised by a single mother who has also been working as a paraprofessional within the District of Trenton in the bilingual programs as well. And it's extremely sad to say that her position has also been abolished in the district. That's definitely sad. I mean, considering the feelings of family members of many paraprofessionals that are losing their jobs, you know, it's devastating. With that said, I hope that the Board of Education can take into consideration the many bilingual students and paraprofessionals
As a 36-year veteran of this district, it saddens me to see the state of the affairs of this district in terms of humanity. This district has always been known for its humanity and compassion to employees. Someone came to me and asked me, how can we change the face of this district? It's moving in the wrong direction. I could not have agreed more. I've seen many, many changes, but one constant that always remained was the humility in which this district has always treated its employees. They didn't treat them as number 1193 on a leave of absence. There was compassion. We need to find that place again in this district with everything we're going through now and what we're going to be going through in the future. You're going to need those individuals to come and rally around the efforts that it's going to take to get us back to where we need to be as we fight the state, Governor Christie, even as we fight Sweeney and the Norcross brothers who come into this district to do harm and to seize us. And we're allowing them to come in and be seized. But I have to speak first to many, many things. Lucy, I would run to the door. I would run to the door. Les, you're taking up air and space, making $100,000 and never have anything to say. We need that $100,000. We do. We need it. You haven't made a difference since you've been here. You divided and you conquered and you played both sides. To the point where people in central leadership cannot make decisions. That is wrong. Now, earlier in this year, I submitted an open request regarding the amount of money the solicitor firm has made. That was in October. You gave that firm a $400,000 contract. In October, they were already at $183,000. October. If they were at 180, and I don't know, because I don't know how often you look at the billable hours and how much they spend periodically, or you just wait till this evening when they're asking for another $210,000. You pay these people $400,000 tonight because you're obligated, because they overdrawn that $400,000. You have another $210,000 on the table. I hope what I read is incorrect, that I don't see that. I am happy, though, to hear that you're going to be hiring an in-house attorney. Perhaps we can find someone like the great Kathleen Smallwood Johnson, instead of going for the juggler, would try to mediate, have conversations, try to resolve, not making it always about money, going to arbitration. There's no winner. How can we resolve this? Because we're all working here together. Everything should not have to go to arbitration. I said to you before, NJEA has plenty of money to go to arbitration. This district cannot afford to send everything to arbitration. You don't have it financially. Every year, there's a shortfall. Charter schools, enrollment, Norcross, Sweeney, coming in here to try to take us over, but yet we're still wasting money going to arbitration. Data does not lie. In most instances, you are not successful, but yet the money is spent. We don't choose to go to arbitration. So I'm glad that the leadership has come to its senses in realizing that we need in-house counsel. That it was borderline double dipping for the firm to be the solicitor and then be the in-house counsel. But let me go to the layoffs and the non-tenures and the non-withholding. And I'm gonna speak to you, Gerald, because you know specifically, you can address how people feel when people are attempting to take their jobs away, fire them, and get rid of them. It wasn't long ago that you can remember when your job was on the line and they eliminated your position. Didn't feel nice, did it? Took food off of your table to feed your family. This is what I'm seeing here again this evening. Incomplete packets. I don't even know if you've seen information included in some of these packets. But it's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling. Because you think that things are being done with fidelity, that you're going to get a fair shot. And you're not getting those fair shots. It is not fair. Yes, they had to speak to that employee this evening who was in a no-pay status, who came back to be able to apply for the job. That had to come into question. Because it was going to be talked about in this district. While I love that person, it would have been egregious to do that. I am going to wrap it up. But I'm going to say each of you, I'm going to leave you, because you have a chance to make things right. I'm going to leave you with what Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Let's not get punched in the face.
Good evening. You know, yesterday was Memorial Day. It was a day that we gave honor to those who served, in many cases, on the front line to protect this country. That's very important to me because I had relatives that I remembered yesterday. I'm sure I'm not the only person in this room. There are many ways that people serve on the front line. In classrooms, teachers and paraprofessionals serve on the front line. Now, it's one thing if there's some outside force or an enemy that attempts to take them out, but it's another thing if we take them out unfairly. So I heard first Susan Nardi speak to unfairness. I just heard Janice Williams speak to the same unfairness. The problem here is that these individuals serve on the front line. They come to work and they're held to a standard. They're expected to come to work because people with administrative titles see them as less than them. So the teachers, the secretaries, the paraprofessionals, the custodians are expected to come to school on time, are expected to meet this bogus 92% attendance. They're being held accountable to this, to these numbers, by administrators who violate the policies themselves. That's hypocrisy. When I look at that agenda, and I know the law says they can only have X amount of vacation days on the books, I looked at several administrators. I'm like, they're getting what? Are they ever at work? And this is real, and you know it. Central administration knows it, but has not held them accountable. So who's been supervising the building administrators for getting these payouts tonight? When they've been absent 90 days a year, every year. And we know some of the administrators I'm talking about. And if you go into the buildings in the summertime, can you find an administrator? No. Absolutely not. But I'm not hearing about any of these administrators who run in, even though their hours are 8 to 4, they come in after 8:20, after 8:40, after the teachers in some cases. I don't hear about their checks getting docked. But I get emails or letters about my members being docked. This is a problem. They're the ones serving on the front line, and it seems to be this administration's focus to demoralize those who are servicing our children face to face. It also seems to be the focus of this administration to even try to attempt to balance this budget by withholding increments of people within TEA. I haven't heard about any increments being withheld from TAS or any other administrators. I have a problem with that. Where's the equity up in here? So if you're going to hold me to one standard, hold it to the administrators as well. So you want me to be non-renewed because I have not satisfied the residency requirement. But when I look in the parking lot and see the central administration coming in, everybody still has a Pennsylvania license tag. Where's the equity in that? And our members who have a problem with getting a waiver can't even get a letter from the district. Can't get a letter of support. But of course, central administrators can write their own letter of excuse. You make 150 grand. My members make 50. But you have an excuse about how you cannot afford to move. It's not right. It's not right. And you're going to be held accountable for your actions. It might not be on this side of life, but you will be held responsible for your actions. It's not right. It's not fair, and it needs to stop. Have the same rules for everyone. That's right. Fair is fair. So our members need to be on time and can't be late 3 days from January to May without someone saying, oh, they were 2 minutes late on January 14th. 5 minutes late in April, and 6 minutes late in May. So now I'm going to dock them 13 minutes. Dock yourself every day you come in as an administrator at 8:20 and 8:45. It's not right. And it needs to stop. And this board, if you think that you're here to oversee this district, you're doing a poor job, because this is what's happening. And don't tell me you can't get involved in the day-to-day, because you're taking these packets, which in most cases are lies, and you're making decisions based on lies of the day-to-day. And you don't ask questions don't check the facts and it's not right. One thing about me, I tell them, if you're wrong, you're wrong. I tell my members, if you're wrong, you are wrong. Admit when you're wrong. But the same thing for administration. When we work our way up in these positions, it should not be to be vindictive, hateful, or unjust. And that's what I'm seeing. The retaliatory spirit, and it's being upheld by this central leadership. And as Janice said, we've never had this in this district before. It's just inhumane, and you will see its impact on teaching and learning. You're going to see it. We've been here before under Rodney Lofton, and I said I hope that this district never gets to that place again. But we're there. We're there because, again, we're spending more money on legal fees than we are with providing supplies in the classroom. It's ridiculous. Teachers can't get a pack of crayons for every student in their classroom unless they go buy them. This, what's going on in this district right now, is disgraceful. And I'm going to ask, what is the true intent for Stokes? Because when I read the newspaper, and Christie puts in the newspaper when he has his charter convention, that vacant buildings will be ceased and turned to charter schools first, I want to know what the true intent is. And I want to know how much all of you sitting up there truly know. Because trust me, if that happens to Stokes School, you're going to see what the community of Trenton is really made of.
Good evening. I believe there was a question at one of the city council meetings that a lady asked, and so I'm just going to report on that really quick. And that's about the TCHS bricks that were sold. So there's been a total of 7. What we've done with the bricks is our students in the STEM Academy have etched in a picture of the old building, and we also have door signs where the door signs that existed over each one of the doors, the students at STEM had placed them on a little wooden board, shellacked them, and so between these 7 bricks, oh, and we also have these really nice certificates. Certificate of authenticity that Ms. Lee created, which are very nice to go along with the bricks. So we sold 7 bricks, and the amount raised from the brick sales and the door signs has been $640.
So good evening. First I want to say congratulations to Jason Red, who has earned the credits under the board member academy program to receive certificated board member awards. So congratulations. Secondly, I will continue to be very pleased to announce some of the very many positive things that are worth celebrating in the school district, because I do not want us to lose sight of that as well. So last week on May the 20th, many of the judges and guests that came into this room So over 65 students in the elementary K-8 in their white labs as they presented their science projects. So I thank the supervisor, Mr. Toft, STEM supervisor, and Mr. Dunson, STEM coordinator, and all of the teachers that are preparing our future scientists. On May the 23rd, we hosted the 2016 Mathematics Ball, and we had over 95 students in this room defending and problem solving some very, very difficult problems. On May the 26th, just last week, we had over 200 students perform the TEDdy performances at the HedgePath. It was HedgePath, Mott, and Robeson students, and they absolutely wowed everyone in the audience with their steps and their dances. So I just want to make sure that we capture some of the great things that are happening. Also, on May the 13th, we honored, and we did so again this evening, before the board meeting, there was a reception for 24 of our educators, both teachers and paraprofessionals, for their outstanding and exemplary service to our students. I want to be sure that we cited Giselle Velasquez, who is a Trenton High School West Campus student, who is the recipient of the 2016 Herbert Alea Award, sponsored by Princeton University, the Princeton section of the American Chemical Society. And before I even close, I want to really recognize Tatiana De Jesus and Braulio. Congratulations on the honor of being valedictorian and in honor society, and for presenting the need for bilingual staff members in the Trenton Public Schools and the need for bilingual skill sets. So thank you for that wonderful presentation. I really do appreciate it. With regards to, and I must mention this because I think we have to be fair, we annually, over the last 3 years, have spent over $10 million on classroom resources. So that is something we are constantly monitoring to be sure that the teachers do have the resources that they deserve. I agree with Mary LaFleur that the teachers do deserve to have those resources, and we will continue to do so. Curriculum materials, textbooks, novels, and technology has gone up over the last 3 years. With regards to the Stokes building, there are no intentions, I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it a third time, to lease it to a charter provider. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I have a few things. One, I wanted to get back to what the board president mentioned during the SBA presentation about local hire in terms of trying to encourage that as construction goes forward. And I wanted to at least float the idea of maybe sending a letter or some type of a resolution to Terminal saying that we support local hire and that we would like them to make their best efforts to do so, and also to report back to us on the progress doing that, if that's possible.
Yeah, I think I probably would, but I think that's something that I know the mayor supports, and also Secretary Reed, Community Memorial. I think it should be strong worded, like to then help us out better. But I think some of the largest projects here in the city are residents work on the project. So I really think for the next meeting.
That'd be great. Okay, terrific. And then I just wanted to ask for clarification on the point that was made about the attendance. So I think we all agree that student attendance is really important and that it's a priority for the district. So I just wanted to see if there was any clarification on that question about being marked present, and if that was a change that was made and what that is. Do you know?
So we actually have that in being reviewed by our legal department with regards to what the law says is appropriate and looking at that policy. So we can present that.
Okay, that would be great.
And talking on the attendance also, we are reviewing and monitoring all staff at the administrative central office. Everyone's attendance is being reviewed.
Which is great, thank you. And then I just also wanted to make a point about the contractual entitlements. And my point is simply this, which is that I recognize that it's contractual entitlements, and I'm not quibbling with that, but I do think that moving forward as we're looking at contracts, that I believe this adds up to well over $1 million in contractual entitlements for vacation days and sick days. And at a time when we're looking at budget cuts, I think it's appropriate. Sorry? I think it's appropriate in the future to look at that issue and see if there's a way that we can be as efficient as possible. And I think that's it. And that would be across the board, by the way, not just for any particular entity, but across the board. We don't get a day out.
Yes, and you might need a lot of things to address. Just want to make it clear that as a board, we did not take any decisions that we made lightly. I believe I'm speaking for all of our board members, those who are here, those who are currently absent tonight. Because we take it to mind, body, and soul, to what we think, to what affects us, and our bodies, what affects our spirits. And our purpose is not to bring our district down. That is far from the truth. Our actions are not made in a vacuum. Our actions are made with information, with facts, with due diligence, with thought, with every ounce that we can give, every ounce of our bodies, our minds, our souls that we can give to our district, our responsibility as board members. So don't think for 1 minute that we sit up here and just make decisions just because we make decisions. We take our time and our effort to try our best to make the right decisions. Here's one of the things I wanted to address, is that we've asked administration, we get a lot of comments, some are complaints, some are questions about solutions to the many problems that we have in our district. And one of the remedies, not just a remedy, one of the actions that we've asked administration as a board to do is to take all these comments, these questions, as well as these potential solutions, and to itemize them and come back to us with exactly what our public, our family, and our community has addressed with us. We can in no way address every issue that you brought up tonight, or any of the night, as a board as a whole. But we've instructed the administration to itemize these questions, to itemize these potential solutions, and to come back to the board in writing with how the questions have been answered, possible resolutions to any problems or concerns, and even looking at possible solutions that members of the public have brought to this board. So I want to assure you that we are taking those efforts seriously in terms of your comments, your questions, and your potential solutions that you bring to us as a board. I am somewhat alarmed, quite alarmed at the attorney's additional fees, not from the standpoint of that they're not needed, but from the standpoint that we are over and above what we've actually allocated this year. I am concerned about that. However, I understand that we need to be able to conduct our district in our legal affairs in the most efficient way possible and effective way possible. One of the other things I wanted to address was with the students that came up, valedictorian and salutatorian, correct? And your concerns. Your concerns are not taken lightly. We've actually appointed a school student member to our board. She's not here tonight, but she's working tonight, so she couldn't make it because she works on Tuesday. We don't have board meetings on Mondays. But we did appoint through the administration a student board member who will sit with us and will address some of the concerns. Can't get involved in all of them. Some of them are legal personnel issues would not be able to be involved in, but certainly a voice, a student voice on our board so we can hear the comments that you've heard at every board meeting. I mean, the comments that you've made at every board meeting to us so we can hear what the students are feeling and thinking about our decisions that we make and how we can make those decisions better and how those decisions affect your life and the lives of your fellow students and the lives of your climate in your schools and all those things that you talked about. Bilingual education is very important. We had a great bilingual presentation a few months ago about the great things that are happening in that particular department, and we look forward to more positive things happening. The other issue I want to just quickly address is the issue of our budget. And I'm not going to take too much more time, but I think it's just important because there's been budget questions and concerns that the public has made about our budget and the decisions that we have to make and the actions that we have to take. I made some of these comments at our last board meeting, but many people had left and did not stay for board member comments. And I want you to know that our budget in 14-15, look at this as a household budget. It was $310 million. The next year, we're down to $304 million. This is our revenue. This is money that we, if you worked in a home, you worked at an employer, they paid you, we got to pay $310 million in our 14-15 school year to our households. In the next year, it dropped to $304 million. That's a drop of over $5.2 million. The following year, which is the current year that we're budgeting for, 16-17, it dropped our revenue. The money that comes in to support this district dropped to over $298 million. That's a drop of $5.9 million. Overall, we're talking about $11.1 million reduction in revenue to our district. That's very difficult, even if you think about it as your household losing that type of money that's coming into your home to take care of your family. How do you make up that $11 million loss? Notwithstanding, we actually had savings. You had a rainy day fund. You have an emergency fund in your budget for home. We put in our budget last year $6.2 million from our surplus and $4.7 million into our surplus this year for a whopping $10.9 million. That's notwithstanding the $11.1 million in revenue reductions that we lost. So overall, we're talking over $20-something million. So it's not the fact that we want to make cuts, and that we sit back here and we go in the back room and discuss who we're going to cut. It's not about making cuts. It's about trying to balance our budget, not on the backs of our community. We try to make the best possible decisions that we can with the information that we have, with the resources that we have available. This is not an easy job. And no, we do not get paid for this. This is all volunteer. So I just want you to recognize that, number one, that we care about our community, that we do not make decisions lightly, that we've lost a lot of money over the last several years, and look at into the future. We have to do a much better job of forecasting into the future, and we're working on doing a better job at it, and how we actually spend those dollars that we do have. We welcome your support, we welcome your help to get us through that process. If you have any ideas or any solutions to the problems that we face, whether it be budget problems, whether it be academic problems, whatever those problems may be, please bring those concerns, those questions, those solutions to our superintendent, to her team, and to us as a board. We'll do everything we can to address those concerns and issues and definitely get back to you with a response. But we're doing the best job that we can. With the time that we have, the resources that we have, and our commitment is not to reduce our staff and to demoralize people and to make them look bad and feel bad. That is not what we're about. We're about uplifting our people and helping them to be better employees, better family members, better mothers and fathers and students and children. So don't always, you have to listen and you hear all the things that are being said. But please know that we're here as a team, as a family. And if we continue to fight one another, we should have fights and should be able to communicate with each other and discuss issues that affect our lives intelligently. And sometimes we're going to fight and argue. But not every board meeting. We should not be coming fighting each other over things that we cannot necessarily change right now. We should be looking to the future, trying to make headway about how we can change our district, how we can bring more students back into our district for special education out of the district. Unless they're least restricted environment, we want the best for our students. Our charter schools, $37 million. Tuition, $33 million. That's over $60-something million out of that leaves our district. Leaves our district. You have to think about all the real issues that are affecting us, and we do address those issues, and we do the best job we can. I thank you for listening.
Just, there was something said before about how there's inequitable application regarding the rules or the policies that are in the district. I think that as a board president, I think there are other members of the board, if that occurs, and people aren't shy of emailing me, so you can email me if that's occurring. I think that if in terms of whether it's time, whether it's supplies, whatever it is, those are resources that aren't being directed internally to the students. So if something's going on like that you say is out there, then please report it to us. There are protections, there are protections for folks out there. So don't worry about retaliation because it's not going to occur under this board. But the law also provides protections as well. So I just wanted to address that one first. The next one is I wanted to thank the folks who were here from all our partners regarding the rally for us to come together earlier. TEA, TPA, TBT, TASA, custodians, mechanical laborers, for us to come out together that day and stand in one voice to talk about the equity and funding for urban education. Thank you very much to the folks that were there. It was a wonderful event. Thank you to our parents that were there. Thank you to security who was there, who provided security on site for them. Thank you to Aramark who provided food, to the folks that came out to make sure that folks didn't have to spend additional money out of the pocket and get a decent lunch while they were there. So thank you very much for everybody coming together under one cause. I think we need to see more of that. So we appreciate you on that. In that same vein, tomorrow the State Board of Education is tackling the issue of park. And we all know the issues regarding park and the concerns that we have. So we are going to, when we take a vote tonight, we're passing a resolution that says that park should not be a requirement for graduation. So we're doing that part of the vote, so we will go on record. Judging by the applause, we do that again together as a district. So I think that, we'll be joining together with you because there are things where we are on the same page. We are together much more than we are apart, and we'll continue to try to work together with you. So that resolution will be passed once we take the vote next. This district is amazing when it comes to the arts, whether it be Teddy, whether it be the Kennedy Center, whether it be the upcoming Carter Theater event in June, where they're actually sending buses over to take our parents to Princeton so that they can watch their kids. Trenton is a hotspot regarding the arts. The H1 Save the Music, they've made an investment in our district, and I think we're finally to the point where we're going to have instruments in all of our middle schools. It's important. That means in all our schools? Oh, sorry, all our schools. So that's an issue that's important, and people recognize the investments. One of the things that came from one of the grant folks from the Kennedy Center said, we know you guys are having a tough time budgetary. We know the amount of money that's leaving the district, but the fact that you still make a commitment to your students to maintain the arts is appreciated, and you still have our support from that and from the private side. So that was there. The last thing that kind of building upon what Gerald said, where these decisions appear tough, and Gerald called this a job, but this actually isn't a job. This is something that everybody up here does because they want I've had to take some tough votes up here regarding services and staffing, and they don't get easy. It's every year they're tough. One of the things that when I first got on the board, there was a discussion about policy looking at a minimum level of standards for the contracts for folks who contract with the district. And for some reason at that point it never advanced. So I'm going to actually ask Gerald as the director of the policy committee to look at that policy again and look at, as we have to make the tough decisions to have other vendors come in and take over for certain services, are we making sure that our folks can live on those salaries? Are we making sure that our folks can get health insurance? Can they support their families? Because it's a terrible decision. If I had my choice between both, I would choose not to. I'd choose to keep them in-house. But that's one thing that we should look at our providers and make sure we hold them to the standard that we hold ourselves to when we employ people within the district. So that's something that you all can expect on the next agenda. And I hope that once it's crafted, that the board members that are up here will support us in expediting if there's a will be done before the end of the month. With that said, I think my remarks. Thank you all for staying and putting up with the heat and for participating. And to our students, thank you very much. We're very proud of you. Ramapo and Colgate are amazing institutions. And thank you for you going out and kind of demonstrating the value that's here in Trenton. Sometimes all you see is a negative in the paper, but as we see you guys step off this campus and step out of the city as ambassadors here in South Jersey and up in New York, and just by your presentation tonight, I'm confident that you're going to send forth a message that's going to kind of break down some of the negative stereotypes people hold against our city, because you are great. And it's just, I'm really proud to see you up here, and I appreciate the fact that you came up here and spoke. And I think every member of the board does, because you're the reason why we're here. There's no us without you, and I think it's good for us to see you. So thank you very much. Good luck. If there's anything that either the superintendent or myself or members of the board can do to help and support you, please reach out. And good luck and enjoy June. Don't enjoy it too much. Remember, we still have to go, and you got to put in your time and see if you want to do that. But thank you very much. Discussion on the board agenda. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
D.A. Graham.
Yes.
Sophia Gusson.
Yes.
Denise Millington absent. Jane Rosenbaum absent. Guillermo Velez absent. Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Lucy Vandenberg.
Yes.
Jason Redd.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act codified at NJSA 10:4-6 except for permits the exclusion of the public from meeting under certain circumstances, in order to Trenton Board of Education to the circumstances exist, as follows: any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations to which the board may or may become a party, and any matter falling within the conflict of privilege and confidentiality of the to preserve the relationship and allow the attorney to exercise his or her ethical duties. Board grievance decisions on test set and TA matters, confidential employee policy / salaries, contracts for assistant superintendents, business administrator and superintendent, personnel matters related to employment termination, employment term, the conditions of employment, evaluation of performance of promotion or discipline of any specific prospective public officer or employee or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by the public body, unless all individuals who could adversely affected request in writing the matter to be discussed at a public meeting, tenure charges for HD, JK, MS, LT, increment holdings for SA, CC, AF, CG, EH, SHD, and the superintendent's evaluation. Now therefore be resolved that the Trenton Board of Education, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, and the executive session will be held on May 31st for the statutory principal purposes, indicating the resolution be it further resolved that action may be taken when the board reconvenes from the session, and be it finally resolved the minutes of the executive session with regard to the above subject matter shall be disclosed to the public at a later date, to the extent that the same is not prejudicial to the interests of the parties involved, no longer refers to the public interest, or does not endanger any individual right to privacy. Just so you all know, somebody asked me after our last meeting why I read this every time, and the fact is that we got sued previous to before I was president because the resolution was not specific enough. So this resolution, when I read this here, specifically says why we're exercising and why we're going into closed session, because we have to talk outside of you, the public earshot, for specific reasons that protect an individual's rights, or maybe it's discussing certain things regarding a student. But that's why I have to read it, so I know that sometimes I'm not this tedious, but I wanted to make sure that you understood why we read it and why we go into closed session. So with that, all those in favor of adjourning to, we are, motion to adjourn to closed session.
Second.